America. This is Ramon Rocha greeting you from the Office of Editions PBA, the IFES-related publishing house in Benin. It is a blessing for MAI to be here to provide training and publishing consultancy with Augustine Ahoga, Georges Lati, and the dynamic PBA team. Thank God for internet, I could still host today's webinar with our speaker broadcasting from Manila, Philippines, and you joining us from all continents, Africa, Europe, Asia, and North America. Thank you to John, who is on standby in Chicago, in our office. Welcome to today's MEI webinar, Engage Your Readers Through Social Media with Ida Torres. 38 of you registered, and we are expecting about half of that number joining us in our live webcast. Thank you very much for being here. Almost all of you are already using the chat box, and you will use this chat corner for your questions, and we will entertain your questions towards the end of our webinar. To state the obvious, we are now in the age of conversation. Because of technology, it is now easier to express our views to a large number of people, locally and globally, and we can do it instantly and inexpensively. Isn't this good for authors and publishers alike? But are you using social media effectively? Are you engaging your readers in a sustained conversation? Are you marketing yourself and your books through social media? Our speaker today is Ida Torres, the Digital Marketing Officer of OMF Literature in the Philippines. Ida is an avid practitioner of social media. In fact, to do social media is in her job description. She's being paid to do Facebook and other social media during office hours. I'm sure most of you are guilty. You're looking at you, you're doing social media during office hours, but Ida is supposed to do that. And as we were talking a while ago, sometimes she can be in social media during office stuff, and I was advising her to have a social life rather than just have a social media life. So we are very pleased to have lead us in today's webinar. But before I turn over the cyber floor to her, we would like to hear from you. Please answer the question, what social media are you using? And connection will hold because we are launching the poll. It's taking a few seconds here. So, what social media are you using, brand? Please answer now. Is it Facebook only? Is it Facebook and Twitter, Facebook and Instagram, Facebook and WhatsApp or similar chat app, Facebook and Pinterest, Facebook and blog, Facebook and LinkedIn? Are you using only Google Plus, or you are not using any social media? Vote now. Our speaker would like to know where you are. What social media are you using? And this will be helpful to her as she discusses her topic. Well, a lot of you are using YouTube. That's great because you're using video. Okay, so we're almost 61%. Everyone voted. Even if you're not using, then vote. I'm not using any. Okay, give a little bit more time. 8 of 13. Okay, the rest do not want to vote. Okay, so maybe we'll end the voting. 8 have voted. 30% Facebook and YouTube. 23% Facebook and blog. 15% Facebook only. 15% Facebook and Instagram. And 7% Google Plus and 7% not using any social media. At least you have an idea, Ida, that more of them are using Facebook and YouTube. Some are Facebook only. Okay? Okay, thank you very much for participating in the polls. So, yes, please, Ida, please start your presentation.
Okay. Good evening from Manila. Can everyone hear me clearly? I hope everyone can hear. Can you just like say yes or type in exclamation point if you can
Yes,
hear me
yes.
clearly? Okay. Hi, Barbara.
Yeah,
Yes, thank you. All right.
yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So it's 9 p.m. here in Manila, and it's yeah. Um, so I'll just get right to it. As Ramon said earlier, I'm the digital marketing officer for OMF Lit, and a big part of my job is actually yes, doing social media. And I know that not all the publishing houses or have a dedicator for that, and so we're lucky or we're blessed at OMF Lit that we have that, and because it is a priority for us. And right now, I want to help you navigate this crazy world called social media. I'm glad a lot of you are on Facebook already, and about Facebook because that is where all the major conversation happens. But to start off, we'll be talking about four things for today. So, why use social media, and how do you use it, and how do you build a community? Community is a very important aspect in social media, and how do you keep them interested and engaged in your books and your brand? So, first, the fact that you're here attending this webinar means that you understand that social media is very important right now. But if you need a little bit of convincing, so here are just a few facts. There are 2.03 billion social media users in the world right now. So that's a penetration of 28%. And they say that it will continue to grow. It will not stagnate, it will just continue to grow. And for the people who spend their time online, before usually you would go check your email, go watch some videos on YouTube. But right now, 28% of the time that you spend online, you actually spend on social media. So again, why social media? If you don't have a huge marketing budget, I know a lot of us, that is a challenge, have a lot of money to spend on big advertising. So this is your only form of advertising and your way to reach your audience. And also, the local and global reach of social media is unprecedented. Before, if you place an advertisement on your newspaper, only the people who are in your area can read that newspaper. But right now, if you post something on Facebook in Manila, everyone all around the world that has access to Facebook can actually. And so it is the best platform right now to compete. Okay, it's a level playing field for everyone, internet access. And most importantly, your readers and your readers and your market are there. Okay, that's the most important part, because you can keep talking and talking on social media. If your readers are not there, it's gonna be useless. Okay, so the more important part of our talk today now is how to use social media. A lot of us use Facebook, but that's probably just for, keeping up with your friends, keeping up with news. But actually, social media can build your brand. When I say brand, it's you as an author or you as a, and of course, well, you as well, because social media is not just for selling, but it's actually listening to your readers and your potential readers and more about you and yourself as well. Okay, so I put here 5 things that we need. These are musts when you want to start doing uh, um, branding on social media. First, you have to be present. Okay, if you're still not on Facebook, I suggest not use social media. You have to be on social media right now. Okay, it's a must. And you also have to commit. It's not enough to post, just post in a week. It will not be you. You have to be committed to actually doing this. And third, as I emphasized earlier, you have to listen. So it's not just you talk to people, it's actually listening to them. And not just listening, but engaging with them. So answering their questions, talking to them. It's a very exciting time to be in marketing right now, because now you can actually hear them talking back to you. You can actually talk back to them, and without spending like millions of dollars to do that. And lastly, you have to learn, okay? Because social media is not perfect.
Ida, I think we lost you. Hello, Ida. Sorry about that. Yeah, can you turn off your
How about there?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, okay, sorry about that. Okay, so I don't know which part did you lose me.
This slide, yeah, you're on this slide, minimum viable product.
Okay. So I was saying that a few years back, they said that a website is more important than a Facebook page. Okay, but now um, you may not have a website, but you need to have a Facebook page. So it's now more important in this age of social media. And again, Twitter. I don't know how big Twitter is in your country. Okay, but Twitter is also very important, as I'll discuss a bit later. And you need to have a public email address as well. So even if you have a Facebook page, people still need to know that you have an email address that they can contact you in case they want to say something more private to you. And then right now, we're in the age of multimedia. So that means images and videos. So it's not just text. Okay, so you have at least one of them. Okay, I'll be discussing these in detail in a little later on, but at least these are just the minimum viable product that you need to be able to move in social media. There are other things that you can also try. So if you have a website, okay, that is actually pretty good, and it is so good in terms of selling your product. And if you don't have a website, a blog is a good alternative. There's also now what we call the vlog or video blogs. So a lot of the writers right now, and not just writers, a lot of musicians and artists, they start doing video blogs. So if they don't have time to sit down and write, they just turn on the camera, record their thoughts, and then broadcast it out to the world. If you don't like, doing video, you can also do podcast. Okay, so that's just like a radio show. Okay, that where you can also have a program, or you can just broadcast your thoughts and all. This one, games and apps, those are a little bit more advanced, but if you write children's books, games, tie-in games would be good, and also apps, but you need to have a good concept for an app as well, because there are like a million apps out there, and to compete with all of that, you need to have a really good concept. Okay, so let's talk about some of the social media in detail. So, of course, Facebook. As I said earlier, this is different from a Facebook account. You need to have a Facebook page. This is the best way to reach out to your community. Okay, and a lot of writers also use this as already their blog and their website. So they put everything in here already. These are just some of examples of the most popular ones. Paulo Coelho, he has, I think, the most among the authors. He has the highest number of followers on Facebook, as well as Neil Gaiman. If you can check out their Facebook pages, so you can see what they talk about on their pages. And in terms of Christian writers, Kerr has a pretty good following, and both in the Christian circles and even outside, those who like to read his books. So you can do a lot of things on Facebook. You can post um, uh, videos, pictures, questions, polls. You can even blog. If you don't have an actual blog like on WordPress or Blogspot, you can do your blogging on Facebook already. They have actually revamped their notes, so it looks a little more like an actual blog. Okay, Twitter. Why is Twitter important? As you know, if you're familiar with Twitter, it has only 140 characters. Although they are saying that later on they will expand, but right now it's just 140 characters. So it is actually a cool way to talk to people, but with limited number of characters. Okay, so you can be more creative in that way. And you can also do polls, you can ask questions, you can share links. For example, you find something that you think your readers would be interested in, you can share it. and just do a little commentary. And on Twitter, hashtags is important. So, for example, you want to find out um, what people are talking about, so you just look at the trending topics and the hashtags that people use, and you will find out what is currently happening in the world, through these hashtags. And also, for example, you're interested in kittens. Okay, so you can just look at the kittens hashtag, and you will see what people all over the world are talking about in terms of kittens. Okay, Instagram right now is pretty important in terms of visual marketing, which I'll be talking about in detail later. Okay, so Instagram is really more for images. So you can be more creative in showing shots of your books. So here I'll talk about Hero Shot a little later. You can share quotes, and you can even do short videos. So right now, uh, Instagram has a 30-second limit on video, but they're already expanding it to 60 seconds. Okay, so you can be creative in presenting your book in 30 seconds or 60 seconds on Instagram. Another thing that is interesting right now in terms of publishing is Pinterest. I don't know if any of you have tried looking at Pinterest. It's really more like a visual board. So, for example, you're doing an event, okay, and you want to look for inspiration for your decorations and all that. So you go to Pinterest and you search for example, um, children's parties, and you'll see a whole lot of images, a whole lot of suggestions on how to do a children's party, how to do decorations, what games to play, and all that. So it's a huge board of images. And right now, publishers are actually selling books on Pinterest. So they'll put a book cover there or an interesting shot of the book, and then they'll link it to the where you can buy the book, and then just people just buy it there. So they say that a lot of um, selling is ongoing now on interest. And if your target market are women, 98% of the users on Pinterest are women. Okay. So you can also share, what are the things that you're interested in terms of visuals, and you can also share, for example, you're writing a fiction book. You're currently writing a book, and the male character, you look for inspiration on what the male character actually looks like. And so you put up a board, for example, the name of your male character is Robert. Robert's inspiration. And so you look for pictures of actors that you know look like Robert, or clothes that you think Robert will wear, places that you think Robert will visit. And so even before your book comes out, people actually have an idea of who Robert is. So that's what Pinterest does. Another thing that I want to share with you that's important is Goodreads. Okay, so this is like Facebook, but for book lovers. Okay, so this is it. This is your market, actually, Goodreads. So you need to have an author page up there. So it's easy to create an author page. If you have a publisher, or if you're a publisher, all your authors should be there. And it's important here because, for example, I want to read the latest Stephen King book. So I go on Goodreads, I search, okay, the title of his latest book, and then what saying there. If people are saying that it's not that good, I won't read it anymore. But if people are saying, yes, it's awesome, it's his best book right now, so I add it to my to read list, or my currently reading list, and my friends will also see that I'm reading the current Stephen King book, and so they'll be interested as well. So it's just basically like Facebook, but concentrated for readers. So it's a good place to be in. Okay, so I know it's overwhelming. Okay, there's so many things that are in right now. So we talked about Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Pinterest, Goodreads, Google Plus. I saw someone who's on Google Plus. If For people who are sick of Facebook, they move to Google Plus. And so if that is your crowd, that is your market, then you move to Google Plus. Tumblr is a bit for the younger generation. So mostly it's quotes or GIFs, memes. So a lot of funny things are ongoing on Tumblr. Okay, sharing your but it's not as deep as, if you want to do blogging or on Facebook. Tumblr is really just for the light part of it. Of course, website and blog is still important, for your long form content, and also to test out, some of your stuff on a new book that um, you'll be releasing. Okay, YouTube. So some answered also there in YouTube. YouTube is very big right now because people are moving towards videos. So they're tired already of reading long blog posts, and so they want to see videos. So you can do vlogging, you can do video trailers for your books, and you can even do short films if you have the talent to do that, if you have friends who are talented to do that, then you can use YouTube. Vine is interesting because it only allows you to post 6 seconds of videos. Okay, so if you're creative that way, then you can also be on Vine. Okay, messaging apps, okay, are big right now in various countries, and they use it to actually do customer service. So, for example, people want to ask you, is your a book available here? So they'll just message you on. It depends on what messaging app is big in your country. Here in the Philippines, Viber is pretty big, and Line. So that's what some of the brands are using. Okay, so before you get overwhelmed with all of these, I just wanted to give you examples and to show you that, there are so many things that you can do. So, what do you do first? Okay, so first you pick your digital real estate. Okay, I mean, this is your name on these social media. So, even if you're not yet ready, okay, you can reserve already. You can pick your name on Facebook or on Twitter. If your name is like John Smith, okay, that will be a problem because probably there's already a twitter.com/John Smith. So you need to already reserve, sign up for it, choose your real estate. It would be good if you use the same real estate for Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, or whatever you're using. So, for example, at OMF Literature, we use OMF Lit for all our social media. Okay. Next, you have to choose your voice. Okay, do you want to be a formal? If you're if you have business books, then of course you have to be more formal, you have to be more professional. But if you're doing creative books, then you can also choose to be creative, can be funny, or you can even be mysterious. You can use a pseudonym that no one knows who you are, okay, but you establish that personality already, and then later on you'll reveal that, it's actually you. Third, of course, you don't just go on social media and just post whatever. You need a content plan, okay? So it can guide you. For example, on Mondays, this is what you will post about. On Mondays, you will post about how to be more productive this week. On Tuesdays, you'll post about some how to be more creative. On Thursdays, a lot of people like throwback Thursday. So on Thursdays, you post about something that happened 10 years ago and you remembered right now. So there has to be a content plan, okay, to guide you. You don't have to follow it, exactly to the letter, but at least it will guide you. Okay. Fourth, this is important. You need to have a great profile page. Need to have a great cover photo. Okay, because this is like your advertising. Okay, so when they go on Twitter, as I showed you earlier, where is that? For example, on Twitter, okay, this is your advertising, your cover photo, okay, your profile photo. It needs to be good. It needs to have an impact already. Okay, so plan it, do a photo shoot if you need to do it. Ask your friend to help you make a great background photo, if you have friends who are artists. So ask them to help you because you need to be able to make an impact just with that profile page. And you have to determine your community. As I said, social media is a very big world out there. You need to choose who you want to talk to. Do you want to mothers? Do you want to talk to teenagers? Do you want to talk to kids? Do you want to talk to businessmen? So you have to choose what community you will be focusing on. Okay. So now that you're here on social media, but you don't have a book yet, okay, your book is still in progress. It doesn't mean that you have to wait until your book is there already. Okay, you can be on social media even before the book. So what do you do? Okay, so as I said earlier, you pick your name, your profile photo, your background photo. It's all there already. So what do you talk about when you don't have a book yet? Okay, you can give teasers. Okay, so you can have like a subtitle and then ask people what do they think about it. Okay, but don't give too much away. If you want your book to be a surprise, you just tease them. Okay, but don't let them know about everything yet. When your release date is near, you can give out a sample chapter. Um, so the first chapter would all be good because then they'll have an idea of what the book is about, and if they're interested, they would definitely wait when you release your book. Okay, if it's a children's book or a a picture book, then you can release some of the artwork. So it's just give them a little so that they'll be hooked, they'll be interested. Another thing that actually works for a lot of authors is that they share their creative process. Okay, for example, you have a great looking work area in your house or in your office. You take a picture of that, you share it, you tell them this is where the magic happens. Okay, so this is where you write your book. Or sometimes you can actually share that, at some writing tips. So, for example, you write best at 9 a.m. with a cup of coffee beside you and looking out at your garden or whatever. So, you share what makes you creative, what makes you write more. And they always appreciate having an insight into the creative process uh, of their authors. And then, if you can, involve them in the process. Because people like that. People like participating. So, for example, you're not decided yet what to name one of the characters. So, you do a poll. You ask them, which among these four names do you think is more interesting? And, fans like that they actually were involved in creating, this character or this chapter. And so it will give you more traction to them when you release the book because they'll say, you know what, I voted there. I voted that the name of that character will be Dawn. So that would be interesting for them. And so when your book is here already, okay, what do you do now? So you give out excerpts. So as I said earlier, you give out a sample chapter, and then you give out, two paragraphs later on, a quote every once in a while, so that they would see that okay, this is something that I want to be interested in. And I say rinse and repeat. Okay. When you post something, you don't just post it once. Okay. So you post it maybe a few days later. Okay. Or maybe during the same day, you post in the morning and then you post in the evening again. But you make a little change, like a different caption or a different text, but it's the same content. Okay, but you have to repeat it because it will get lost. You know how many Facebook friends people have, how many Twitter accounts follow. It will get lost in there. So you have to be able to repeat it. Okay, you have to also give book giveaways every once in a while. Okay, so if you have a print book or even an ebook, you can have hold contests and so give them out every once in a while so that um, they would, tell their friends, oh, look, I won a book from this author, so you should follow him or her on Twitter. Okay. And you also have to remind them where they can buy your books. Okay, but don't do it every day. Okay, you have to do it like once a week or once every 2 weeks. But just remind them that, if you want my book, it's available here, here, here. If you have a website or a blog, you can create a testimonials page and section there so that you can post there the nice things that people say about your book. Okay, don't be shy in telling people that some people actually like your book because you're there to promote it. Okay, a book trailer. Book trailers are pretty big, has been big the past few years. But the great thing right now is that you don't need expensive camera equipment to shoot. You don't need to have it done professionally. You can actually use your phone to take nice pictures, to take a video, or even just an interview. And there are a lot of free apps on phones right now and tablets where you can edit and produce your book trailer. Okay, it just has to be, of course, creative. It has to be nice. It doesn't have to be super, super polished. So as long as there is something interesting in that video, you can even actually just record yourself if you have if you're comfortable in front of the camera, just record yourself and then talk about your book. Then that can be a book trailer as well. You can also create hashtags. As I mentioned on Twitter, that's how people things by clicking on hashtags. Okay, so for example, the title of your book is I love coffee. So that can be your hashtag, I love coffee. Of course, you will see a lot of people saying that they love coffee. Okay, so you can actually talk to these people who say they love coffee. And hey, I have a book about coffee. So you can actually read my book. I love coffee. Okay. Here you can get a URL for your book. So for example, on Facebook, if you make a post, it's facebook.com/1234567. It's not something that's interesting or that's easy to remember. So you go to bit.ly, okay, you actually you don't have to sign up for it, but you can also sign up if you want to use it regularly. And you can shorten that facebook.com/123456789, and you can it and put for example bit.ly/I love coffee. Okay. So that it's easy to remember and it's easy to post. And so when people click on that shortened URL, it will lead to the actual Facebook post that you want. And this is very important. Okay, uh, you want when people buy your book, you want them to have to get what they paid for and more than that. So you can create bonus materials for your book, like a reader's guide, a study guide, and give them out for free. Okay, so it's something that they can download so that they know that if they buy your book, they can get something more out of it. And even if they don't yet buy your book, they know that you want to help understand some things, some subjects, then you can be an expert on this. Example, if your book is about managing time, so you can actually create a short guide without giving so much away about your book, but this is like just a bonus and added material for them. Okay, so I said earlier, today is the age of pictures and videos. So we are now into visual marketing, and social media has played a big part in that. So it's not, um, it's don't just post a cover of your book. I'm sure your book cover looks nice, but just posting a cover of your book doesn't get a lot of likes, doesn't get a lot of traction. You need to have a hero shot. Okay, what does a hero shot mean? Okay, I'll show you a sample of a hero shot. So this is from From Tyndale, yeah. Tyndale, if you go to their Instagram account, they have really nice shots of their book. So they don't just post the cover of the book, but they put the book, on the table with a cup of coffee and some nice, sometimes they put crayons around it or notebooks around it. So that's what you call a hero shot. So they have this term called Instagrammable. So it means it's something that you'd want to post on Instagram or you'd want to repost on your page. So that's what a hero shot does. So just again, you don't have to hire a professional photographer to do it. You can actually do it with your phone. You just have to be creative. Use infographics to make your content more compelling. So I know there was a seminar before on how to use
Infographics.
infographics. So yes, infographics. So that is a good way of also presenting your content. Okay, so it's they understand it more because it's visual and has text as well. Okay, so you can go back to that webinar that MAI did on infographics to see how you can also make it. Another interesting thing that you can do for visual marketing is what they call the shelfies. Okay, the shelfie is actually a picture of your bookshelf. Okay, so people are always interested. What do other people read? Especially, we are all book lovers here. You're very interested to find out what other book lovers also read. So just take a picture of your bookshelf and you can show your fans, your readers, what is actually interesting to you. What are the books that you like? So that's a shelfie. And if you're actually comfortable about it, you can also post selfies or pictures of yourself. Okay, not every day, I hope, but every once in a while. Okay, so for example, John Green, okay, the author of The Fault in Our Stars, a very popular young adult novelist right now. So he has a picture with Bill and Melinda Gates. So of course you would post that because you have a picture with the Bill Gates. So he posts that, and it got like I think 5,000 likes in just a few minutes because it's Bill Gates. So you can post a selfie of yourself, either a selfie of yourself, okay, a selfie, a picture of yourself holding your book or talking with other people holding your book. So because they would always be interested to see what you actually look like. But that's only if you're comfortable. I know not a lot of people, like having their pictures taken or posting their pictures. So that's the only condition if you're comfortable. Okay, eye candy quotes. Okay, so you have a lot of quotable quotes on your book, I'm sure. Okay, so you don't just post the text of those quotes, but you actually, have nice, you ask your artist friends to do it, or you can yourself do it. You can put just a simple quote with a nice background picture, and then you post it. A tip, you can use canva.com. That's canva.com. Okay, it's a it's a web-based uh, site that you can use to make all these nice pictures. Okay, some of the images are for free. Some of them you have to pay $1, I think, but you can use. They have actually nice images. They actually already have layouts as well, so you can just put in the text and then save it as a picture, and that's legal. Okay, don't worry. The images that they use, yes, you can upload your own image as well. The images that they use there are free, so don't worry about copyright and all that. So yes, Canva is a good way to do your eye candy quotes. Photo of quotes from actual books. So for example, this one is my favorite quote from from Return of the King by Tolkien. So I just took a picture of this from an actual book and just posted it, and it got a lot of likes already. So if you don't want to do that eye candy quotes, you can actually take a picture, an actual picture. A lot of the in OMF Lit, a lot of celebrities actually do that. They just take a picture of a quote from one of our books and they post it, and people ask already, so where can I buy that book? So, and of course, if I follow those celebrities, I answer as OMF Lit, yes, you can buy it at blah blah blah. So that's a good marketing style as well. Ask readers to contribute. So people actually like making, if they really like a book or a quote from a book, they actually like doing these their own artwork for it. So ask them to contribute. Just don't forget to actually say who contributed that. So you just tag them, thank you for sending me this nice quote, and then tag them, and they'll like that. They always like to be acknowledged, of course. And short form videos. I mentioned already about the 6 seconds for Vine and the 30 seconds, soon to be 60 seconds for Instagram. So if you are creative in doing videos, you can actually also use that. Right now, with OMF Lit, we're doing a lot of videos, a lot more videos right now because we noticed that it gets the most attention when we post it on our social media. So yes, videos are always good. All right, I hope you're still with me, not overwhelmed by all of this. Okay, it can be overwhelming, but once you get the hang of it, it will become easy and more natural for you. You guys still have time? Yes. Oh,
Yes.
this is yes. This is my warning. Okay, do not oversell your book. Okay, do not make your followers sick of your book because every 4 hours you post, buy my book. My book is great. Okay, they say my book is great. Okay. I You can post that every once in a while, but don't always do it. Okay, once or twice a week is actually enough. Okay, let others talk about your book. You can actually post reviews, repost, screen caps, okay, of people who like your book. Okay, but again, not too much. And when you post it, it should be with an attitude of gratitude, not a humble brag or not bragging about it. It should be more like, I'm so happy that you liked my book. Thank you. And then you tag that person. Okay, so it's not really bragging, but more like acknowledging that you're very blessed, you're very pleased that other people actually like your book. So do not oversell. I'll There's a part in my talk later that I'll tell you. So if you don't want to talk about your book, what are other things that you can actually talk about? So now we move on to a very important aspect of social media, which is building a community. So the great thing about social media is you're not just talking to people, okay? You're actually building relationships, which is one of the great things about that we want to do is to build these relationships with people that you never would have met if there was not social media. So you have to find them, create relationships with them, and listen to them. So, oh, hello? Okay.
Yeah.
Can you hear me
Thank
now?
you. It's okay now. Yes.
Okay, it's okay now.
A while ago you were choppy.
Okay, okay. So, who are your people? As I said earlier, you have to find your community. Who is your specific target audience? Okay, where do they hang out? And I mean hang out digitally. Are they more on Facebook? Are they more on Twitter? Okay, what time do they go on Facebook? What time do they go on Twitter? Okay, there are on face. One of the great things about Facebook is that they tell you when you go to your Facebook page, you'll see insights there. You click on it, it will tell you all these things like who are your fans? Are they mostly women? Okay, what age? What time are they online? Which of your posts do they actually like? Do they like pictures? Do they like videos? So Facebook is a really has really good analytics that you can use. How do you introduce yourself to them? Okay, I mentioned earlier about hashtags. Okay, it sounds a bit spammy for some when, for example, I always on my Twitter I always talk about coffee, and so I get some people who follow me who are just random people who have products that are related to coffee, and then they message me. When they do that, it's like, yeah, you're just selling me things. You actually don't want to build a relationship with me. So don't go out and just, tell them, yes, I have a book, buy my book. Okay, you actually talk to them like they're, introducing yourself to real people. So you're like, oh, you like coffee too? That's great. What's your favorite coffee? So you actually talk to them. And then how do you get them interested in you? Okay. So let's talk a bit about community building. So as I said, know where they hang out digitally and what are their activities online and even offline. So if they're not online, where do they go? Okay, what do they do? So it's just actually basic marketing. If any of you are involved in marketing, these are the things you ask as well. So again, hashtags are important. So if you want to know what coffee lovers are talking about, then you look for coffee hashtags. And then don't be afraid to ask questions on the polls. Twitter has a great polling feature. It gives you four options where you just ask, and then random people actually answer your questions. So if you just want, immediate feedback, you can get it from Twitter and even on Facebook. So this is one way of understanding, okay, not just to promote your book, but to understand what your readers and what your potential readers are interested in and what do they want and what do they need. And you need to interact and engage with them. I know a lot of writers are introverts. Okay, they don't like actually talking to people. On social media, you can actually be an ambivert. Okay, it means that you can choose to be an introvert, both an introvert and an extrovert on social media. Okay, so it's important that you interact. You have to go out of your shell to interact and engage with them. Okay. Um, so how do you build a community? Okay, so as I said, you have to choose your community. Find out who your avid readers are. Goodreads has a lot of clubs or a lot of groups. So you can actually go there and research, and most of these clubs are public. So you can actually go into one of the clubs, listen to them, read what they talk about. There are also a lot of online book clubs. So you just have to research in your country where these online book clubs are. Facebook groups are a good way also of finding out where they are. So of course, again, don't spam them. You have to, create a relationship with them before you actually get them to buy your book. So get to know them first. Okay. This one is important. Discover other writers in your genre and befriend them. Here, I just like to tell you a bit of a story. In here in Manila, there are a lot of romance readers. Okay, but a lot of them read romance in our native language, in Filipino, in Tagalog. But there is a small group of writers who write romance novels in English. Okay, so one of them, she's the most popular among them, decided to to befriend, to find out who these writers are and who read them. So she created this community and she called them hashtag romance class. Okay, so just actually last Saturday, they had a big event where like around 50 to 70 people attended, all of them who like to read romance in English. And so every day she goes online, she just talks to these people. She made friends with them, so now they're actually like friends in real life. And then they find people who like and they just interact. She creates seminars for them. She does book readings. She asks some stage actors to, record some of the dialogues there, and then she posts them on YouTube. So what she does, she's not just promoting her books, she's actually promoting the other writers in the genre. And because of that, there is now a growing number of people who are reading romance in English. And before, their books, you can't find them in the major bookstores. But now, major bookstores are approaching them and asking to sell their books. So it's just because she didn't want her books to sell. She was okay on her own, but she wanted to create this community so that she can help other writers. Also of, not just promoting yourself, but actually getting people to read in the genre that you belong to. So because you have to help each other. Okay, it's a very small community, but you help each other. So you also promote similar books and authors in your genre, as I said. And if you have time, and if you're inclined to, you can actually mentor these potential interested writers. In OMF Lit, we have a lot of inquiries always about how do we write a book, how do we start, where to do. And so right now, we're actually one of our acquisition editors, she's mentoring this group of fiction writers because we want to focus on fiction in our digital publishing. And so she's mentoring them. They're around like 10 to 15 people in that group, and they're actually helping them to write their books. Oh, I think she's here. Hi, Steph. She's here in in this seminar. So that's a good way also of connecting with your community, and find out what your readers need, and if you can help them. For example, if your focus on your books is education, and you find out that a lot of the people who follow you are homeschooling mothers, okay, they always need help in materials that they can use for their homeschooling. So you can actually create materials to help them. You can give them tips. You can you can even create a book later on that will help them. So you have to, and in this community, you will be able to firsthand find out what it is that they need. You can also organize online events. So you can do a Google Hangouts or on Facebook. Right now, they have this feature called Facebook Live, where you can go live and people can interact with you. So you just need a phone. You just turn on your phone. You need to have a good internet connection. That's the problem because you need to have a live video. And so there they can actually interact with you and do comments. You can talk to them, answer them in real time. So that's a good online event for your community. Or you can actually, as I mentioned earlier, the romance class group, they had a real life event. So you can just go to a coffee shop, invite them over, just talk to them, have a short program and all. You don't need a lot of budget to actually do these small events. But most importantly, it's not magic. It's not like this week you find a community and the next week you're all best friends already. It will take time. Just like in real life, when you cultivate relationships, it takes a bit of time. Okay, but the rewards eventually would be great, not just for your book, but for uh your your person uh your um your personal growth as well. So what are some of the things that you can do to engage them? So do a book launch, online or offline. You can do if your book is an ebook, okay, sometimes that's the tough thing. You actually don't have a physical book that you can sign when you do your events. So what the ebook writers now do is they just take a picture. So that's already your autograph. So you do a selfie with them, and then they'll post it on social media. They'll tag you, and you'll get a lot of traction from that. And also actually do gifts for attendees. So, for example, you have a cookbook. Okay, so instead of giving away your cookbook during your event, you can create some pastries or something, a recipe from your cookbook, and then that's what you give away to the attendees. You can do a blog tour. Okay, so there are still a lot of bloggers out there, especially book bloggers, that they really like talking about books on their blogs. So ask them to talk about your book. Do a blog tour. What we usually do is for 1 week, so from Monday to Sunday, I I tap 7 bloggers, and they are scheduled to post about a specific book every day. So it means you have content for 7 days. So on Monday, blogger one will post an interview with you. On day two, blogger two um, will do post an excerpt about your book. Okay, day three, and so on and so forth. So you'll never run out of content if you talk to the right bloggers. And the bloggers don't have to have like such a big following. Um, for marketers, it was important that the blogger had, for example, 5,000 followers. Okay, right now, it's more the blogger should be consistent in posting. So don't go for bloggers that just post once a month, because that means they're not real bloggers. But a very specific blogger that talks to homeschoolers, for example, so or to young adults. So you have to look for these very specific bloggers and then do a blog tour with them. So I mentioned this already. Do a Facebook Q&A. Host a regular social media time. So for example, every Monday at 10 a.m. your time, you're online and you answer questions from them. So just, label it, for example, Ask Ida, hashtag Ask Ida every Monday, 10 a.m. And then ask them to ask you on Twitter or on Facebook, and you will answer their questions. So it has to be a regular thing so that they expect that on Monday, 10 a.m., they can be online and they can talk to you. Um, Again, giveaway books. If you have a regular fan, who always interacts with you, who always responds to your questions, who always retweets you, reposts you, you should reward them by giving them a free book every once in a while. Okay, so it's not a regular contest, but it's just because you appreciate them, you want to show your appreciation, so you give them a gift, not even your own book if you want a book that you think they'd be interested in. So it's these little things that you can do to show that you appreciate them. Um, you can also ask them to send user-generated content. I mentioned earlier the quotes. So if they have artwork, that they did, if they wrote a blog post that was inspired by your book, then ask them to send it, and then you repost it as well. And this is a huge thing right now, that it is both digital and analog as well. So you have to bring it offline as well. So you just don't interact with them online, but you actually, be out there physically. So you can do informal meetups. You can, just say, I'll be here at Starbucks at corner, blah, 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 on Monday, and then just drop by, say hi. So you can do, impromptu meetups like that. You can also do book drops. Okay, this is one of the things that I really like doing. So you just drop off a book at a random place, for example, a playground or coffee shop. So you leave a book with a note there that you're actually leaving this book intentionally, and if they find this book, it's theirs already. And so just tweet that, leave a contact number, contact detail like your Facebook or your email, so they know that they can reach you if they ever get your book. So that's a nice thing that you can do. Do I still have time? Is it okay?
Actually, maybe just go to the more important slides and then we'll open the discussion for
Okay. Yep.
questions.
Okay. So you'll be able to see the slides right later on, so you can just go through them.
Yeah.
Okay. How to keep it going? So I said earlier, it's not just about your book. Okay. So you have to go beyond just your book and yourself. So you have to keep them engaged. Okay. You don't just go on a social media campaign when you just have something to promote. You have to be there for the long haul. That's why you need commitment. So what else do you talk about? What else do you do? So you curate online content. So it means if you find something interesting that you think your readers will like, then you repost that and then you add your commentary. So there is a personal touch. Okay, this is also important. Be involved in current issues. Okay, because they want, uh, of course, they want your opinion. For example, there's a controversial issue about marriage. Okay, and then your readers, of course, will want to know your opinion about it because you wrote a book about marriage. Okay, about relationships. So you talk about these things. So that's why blogging is still very important because you can't just say what you want in 140 characters. So you need to blog about it. You need to talk about it on your Facebook. Celebrate significant events or holidays. So if it's Mother's Day, you need to have something about Mother's Day, of course. Establish yourself as an authority. So you choose your specialty. Okay, so if your specialty is relationships, then you have to establish yourself as an authority on that by also doing these things so that people know that if they have a question about relationships, they will ask you. Promote other books, promote writing, promote reading. It's very important that you actually are an advocate of reading. In OMF Lit, we do every day we post reading tips and writing tips because we also want to be known as an organization that actually encourages people to read. Okay. Share your current read. What are you reading? People always like hearing about that. And as I said, blog. It's the because we are writers, we need to continually write. You are not a writer if you don't write. So blogging is one of those ways that you can still um, uh, communicate even if you don't have a book right now. Post interesting stuff related to your book or topic. So, interview this one is also good. Interview other writers, especially the ones that are related to your community. So, if you have a friend or even an online friend, someone you met online that also writes about um, motherhood. Okay, you don't see yourself as competition. You see yourself as actually colleagues. So invite them to your blog, guest on your social media. Host regular author online hangouts, start online book clubs are also interesting right now because you don't have to meet every week to talk about your book, but you can actually do it on Facebook or on Google Hangouts or on Skype. Some do their book clubs on Skype. So just talk about organize this. You will be the one to organize or you'll be the one to participate. You can also ask other people to write on your blog, do guest blogs. You can also ask people what they want you to write about. So if you're running out of ideas, you can just ask them, "Oh, what do you want me to talk about next week on my blog?" So you can ask them that. Um, I like this quote from Guy Kawasaki. He said that you provide such great content that you can promote your book when it's done. And this one is I added, or even when you don't have a new book. People go to you, go to your social media sites, interact with you, not just because you have a great book, but because you have great content. And they look to you to um to be able to get this content because there's so much content out there, and if people consider you an expert, go to you, then that's a job well done. It means you're doing social media right. um okay, you can just look through these other small details, but I think yes, we can ask this one last slide that I want to share. I found this from one of the book groups that I belong to, and they said these are quick ways to help your author. Of course, buy their books, review their books, follow them and share, recommend them, and offer to help. As you can see, 3 out of the 5, or actually even 5 out of 5 of them, these are all done on social media. So readers want to help authors, especially authors that they love. So the best they can help you is if you're on social media and because they're also on social media. So yes, I guess about it.
Thank you very much, Ida.
Yep.
I think we're open for questions. If you have any questions that you would like to ask Ida, please type them now. If you're still interested to hang on, we had a few minutes of downtime when there was a technical difficulty, so I think it's we're excused to go over time. Thank you, Barbara, for your encouragement. If you have, yes, Marlene, thank you. Azor, yes, we'll give you a copy of the PowerPoint, and also, yeah, we'll give you a share with you the PowerPoint and share with you the recording of this webinar. Any concern, any comment, any question? Jewel has a lot of. I have more than 1,000 friends in Facebook. Every time I show my friends books with photos, information about the book, I just received some likes, but I cannot receive any comment feedback. How can he engage his friends more? He wants to have more engagement. Very few likes, but not really. I think you have to review the, Jewel, you have to review the webinar again.
Yeah. And actually,
How
yeah,
can you
to answer that, actually on
be more
Facebook,
specific? Yeah, go ahead, Ida.
that's one of, yeah.
You're choppy, Ida. Please repeat what you said to answer Jewel.
And
Yes.
people who are too lazy to comment can actually just click like or love right now, and that's it. That's the extent of their engagement. Now, if you want them to comment and feedback on what you're posting, then you need to actually. Hello? Okay. Can you hear
Yes,
me?
go ahead. Continue.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah. So
yes.
you need to actually ask them questions, because if you just post something and you don't ask a question, or you don't encourage them to like say something, you need to have a call to action. In marketing, that's what they call it, a call to action. So ask them questions, and ask them if they have anything interesting to say about what they, so you have to encourage them actually to give their feedback. Okay. On Twitter, people are more engaged in that, because you don't have, well, you do have a like a heart button on Twitter. Okay, but people are actually more engaging on Twitter if you use people.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah,
You have
Joanne,
to
that's
do
yeah.
more work. Yeah.
Yes, Joanne, that's right. You actually comment on their posts as well. Yeah, that's a good way also to engage with them.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Any more question from? Thank you for that question, Joel. Any more question from the participants? Yes, Joanne, you want to ask a question? You're actually in the Q&A. Here is Ida's email address. You can, is it all right, Ida, if they
Yes,
can
yes,
email you, if they may
yes,
have some
definitely.
questions later on? So I
Definitely.
posted your email address there. Yeah.
Yes.
Where should our emphasis be? On our personal page, Facebook page, or author Facebook page?
Oh, I think it's really on the author. Facebook page rather than the personal, unless you're the type of person that, you don't mind being um, more vocal and outspoken on your personal page. Okay, but sometimes other people want to separate their personal and their author page so that the ones on the personal page are the only the close friends and all that. So the author page would be the better one.
So you have a separate author's Facebook page, separate from your
Yes.
personal page.
Yes,
Okay.
I suggest that. Yeah.
George is asking, sometimes it's very difficult to follow the plan we have. I think
Mhm.
because they have a small staff, and unlike OMF Lit, you are a
Yeah.
dedicated person. I think the barest minimum is what they're asking,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
there are only
Barest
a few
minimum.
people here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
Barest minimum would be the Facebook page. I think that would be, if, and you can actually spread out the work among, you don't have to have one person do it. You just have to have a plan and, ask
Okay.
help from the other staff to do it. For example, one is
Okay.
good at answering questions, so that one can be the one to respond to customer inquiries. Another one is great at
Yes.
actually writing content, so that person can do that. One is great at artwork, so that can do that. So yeah, you can spread it out, but the barest minimum I think is the Facebook page.
It's Facebook. Barest minimum is Facebook account. Yeah.
Yep.
And keep it going. Yeah.
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
Don't post once a week.
You will not be remembered if you just post once a
Yes.
week. How how
Yes.
how how many times is good enough? Say Facebook. How
Um,
many times is
for Facebook, it depends on the number of followers that you have. I think if you have just a small group of followers, then once or twice a day is enough. But the more followers that you have,
enough?
they say the more that you have to constantly post. And remember that even if you post, it doesn't mean that all your followers will get to see your post. So that's why
Mm.
I said you have to repeat it sometimes and you have to get people to like it. Facebook has a very strange algorithm. Okay, that's what they call it. So the more people like your post, it's the more people will be able to see it. Okay, so it's not as
Mm.
just simple as just posting it. So you have to get people to interact with it and to like it. If you have staff, you can actually ask them to, if you post something, they have to like it so that it will get more
Mm.
traction. So you also have to have an
Oh,
employee engagement program. Yeah, that would be a good. Okay.
built-in traffic,
Yes,
built-in Facebook
because
traffic.
yes, because of course, who will be the one to promote your books? It's of course the people who work with you, the people who are in the company. So yeah, you actually have
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Well, Miriam, as Ida said, as much as possible, if you can do it at least once a day, or
Yeah,
even
at least
twice
once
a
a
day,
day.
but twice a week is maybe twice a week is too far and in between.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah. And what about tweets? John is asking, how many tweets a day?
Uh, Tweets. I think once or twice a day is also good, but you have to repeat it. Okay, so for example, two original content, you have to post one in the morning, one in the evening. So you have to repeat it. Just make sure that you don't repeat the exact same tweet. So you can actually repurpose it, just change the language a little bit. But yeah, you need
Okay.
to find out. Yeah.
Mm. Mhm. Yes, Miriam. Ida said twice. Is it two different times? Say Facebook, you post twice a
Yeah.
day, two different times.
Yes, two
Ida,
different times.
maybe
Yes,
one.
two different.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe one in the morning. You have to find out what time your followers are most online. On Facebook, it's easy because you have analytics. Twitter also has analytics, but it's not as good as Facebook. There are actually some tools
Mm-hmm.
that you can use. Some are free, some are paid. So, but you can look for the free ones. But
Mm-hmm.
of course, what they offer is a little bit limited. Okay, but they do have that.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much. I don't know if we have more questions, but we just want to thank you for your interaction. And of course, we would like to thank Ida. Ida, you're such a blessing today. You're very generous, sharing your passion. We can feel your passion on social
Yeah.
media. It's not just a job, you love what you're doing.
Yes.
And your expertise and your time. Thank you for preparing this PowerPoint presentation and even being open to answer questions even after our webinar. So we would like to thank you
Yes.
on behalf of everyone who participated and even those who will watch this presentation on demand. They may not have the opportunity, the privilege to ask questions now because they didn't join us live, but I'm sure they would also be very grateful to you. And
Yes.
I hope we will all try to apply what we've learned. We will
Yes,
do
please.
our best to be active in social media, and it's not going away. I think we will have social media. I don't know up to when, but for many years there will be new ones coming. Maybe 5 years from now, 10 years from now, Facebook is already Jurassic and already a new one. We don't know. But Miriam, you can find the previous topics in our website, www.litworld. So thank you very much, Ida. Um,
Thank you. Thank
Thank you
you.
for being with us today. Just to remind you to visit our website to answer Miriam's question, please visit our website www.litworld.org, and you can find the list of all the previous webinars. You can still watch the recordings of these webinars, and you will find it have those webinars in the past, and you can listen to them and review them. Again, thank you. For our next two free webinars on May 17, this is on editing and using technology to edit your books. So a group editing using Wikify, collaborative editing in a digital world by Jeremy Taylor from Tyndale House Publishers. So mark that date, May 17. If you're not an editor, please pass on the information that there is going to be a webinar on editing, collaborative editing, uh, on May 17. Do register using our website. And on June 14, how to repurpose your content for multi-format distribution. We're in the digital age. You have to know how to use different formats to reach our readers and how to prepare our content so that they could be read in different devices. And that's George Cora leading us in that webinar. So take note of these two upcoming webinars and register. You will receive an invitation. If you receive an invitation, please pass it on to your colleagues. So we just appreciate you for being here for our webinar. God bless you all. Thank you. Good night and good day. Bye for now.